Today's episode is brought to you by our sponsoring partner, the Campaign for Black Male Achievement. CBME has worked over the past decade to support Black men and boys to provide them the right word or the right person at the right time on their journey towards realizing their full potential. I value CBME's efforts, their focus, and the investments that they have made to define this new field for Black male achievement and to rewrite the narrative that we want for our country. If you've not yet done so, I urge you to visit tbpod.com/partners today and learn more about CBME and consider joining their membership and investing in the future of our Black men and boys.
You're listening to the trailblazers.fm podcast, where we'll explore the stories of today's successful Black professionals, entrepreneurs, and leaders. Join us to access the knowledge, resources, and tools of these accomplished professionals and come away with the know-how, confidence, and motivation you'll need to blaze your trail. And now, here's your host, Stephen A. Hart.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the trailblazers.fm podcast. I'm your host, Stephen A. Hart. Our featured guest today is the amazing Maya Elious. Maya is a highly sought after entrepreneur, speaker and brand strategist who helps women master their message. Now, as a brand strategist and a marketer myself, I know just how important it is for entrepreneurs and professionals to have a clear message. And so I wanted to cap this 6-week series that we've been in focused on trailblazer entrepreneurs. And I wanted to cap this series with Maya and have her discuss why messaging is so important to helping you to get the results that you desire most as an entrepreneur and business owner. And definitely for those of you who are career professionals, I think you're going to find value in today's episode as well. Today's episode is number 197, which means that we're only a few weeks away from our 200th episode of the show, which is pretty amazing in and of itself, right? And one of my wishes, I've been expressing this for the last several weeks, is that I want us to have 200 ratings of the show on Apple Podcasts. And that's where you can help us out today. I want you to, if you happen to listen to trailblazers.fm within the Apple Podcast app and you haven't yet done so, I want you to jump in and leave us a rating and review. Please consider hopping into your app, searching for trailblazers.fm like you were looking us up for the very first time. And when you are able to do that, click on the podcast cover art. That's what comes up first. You'll scroll to where you see that text link, write a review. And I just want you to share your honest thoughts and feedback and why you've enjoyed listening to trailblazers.fm. Our latest review, just want to give a big ups right now to the Real Rich G handle on Apple Podcast. The Real Rich G left us a 5-star rating and review that was titled, "Just What I Was Looking For." And the review read, "I've been searching for a good podcast, something enlightening and informative, but also entertaining and not boring. This is perfect. Great host and awesome guests that come out every week. Also, just the right amount of time. Keep it up." Listen, the Real Rich G, appreciate you. Enough respect. Can't thank you guys enough for taking the time to share your thoughts. Also lets me know, right, who in our Blazer Nation is listening in and why you're listening in, what you enjoy most about the podcast. So one more thing I wanted to share. I'm beginning to explore potential guests for our 2020 class of featured guests on the show. We only have about 40 to 45 featured guest slots each year. And I've already had several episodes that I've locked in on for next year, but I'm wanting to hear from you guys who you'd like us to feature on the show. If you know of a really successful Black entrepreneur or, a Black leader who's crushing it at the highest level, I'd love for you to hit me up. You can do so on social. We're everywhere at TV Pod. I'm everywhere at Stephen A. Hart. Or you can invite them to complete a guest application. We have a great Google form up and you can access that over at stephenahart.com/guest application. Okay, enough about the intro chatter, right? Go ahead, grab your pad and pen or open your favorite note-taking app right now. Let's get set to receive today's mission fuel or motivational mission fuel from our featured trailblazer for today, Maya Elious. Hope you enjoy. Maya, hello and welcome to trailblazers.fm.
Hey, hey, thank you so much for having me on.
I'm so excited. It's an honor to share in our conversation with you right before we got talking. I was saying that we have so many mutual friends, past guests of the podcast as well, like Patrice Washington and my homegirl, Tiff South, always talking up Maya. And I'm like, man, I need to know who this Maya is. She needs to come on the podcast.
Cool. I'm glad you've been hearing about me. That's always a good thing.
So I'd love to open where we do most of these conversations, which is from a place of gratitude. And so wanted to ask you, what's an unexpected blessing or opportunity that you're most grateful for in your life right now?
I am most grateful right now for my house. I've been in here for maybe like 2 months now, and I wake up every day and I'm like, wow, I can't believe I'm in a house and not an apartment. It feels crazy. So that's what I'm most grateful for right now.
Yes, home ownership is a great thing until something expensive breaks.
Right. I just paid so much to have security equipment put in, and I'm like, okay, I'm moving back to the apartment where it's already secured for me.
Yeah, that's always something. I feel like, every year it's replacing, and our home is now close to 10. Actually, it is 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, if you're not replacing an HVAC or a dishwasher or something, it's always something. But let's talk for a little bit about you and your background. I know you're in Atlanta now. Is that where you're from? Is that where you grew up?
I grew up kind of all over. The majority of my adult life, I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina, and then I kind of grew up in Pennsylvania. So Philly, my earlier years, and then the Pittsburgh area for like middle school and high school.
Wow. Up and down the East Coast.
Up and down the East Coast. The East Coast is where it's at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed it's like all these Black women converging in Atlanta, and I'm trying to understand what's the deal.
Right. I mean, I did not come here on any strategy for business. Surely did not come here for relationship purposes. I came here because a lot of my family is here. So my grandma's here. Some of my mom's sisters are here. My own sister is here with her husband and kids. So I get to see my family very often.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I read, as I was reading up about you, I saw that you have a mission for helping women of faith win big. Did you grow up in the church?
I did grow up in the church. I definitely grew up in the church, always been a Christian. So, and I never thought that I would have a business where I'm like, yeah, I'm going to help other women of faith. I think it just kind of happened naturally.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you own that and have that as part of your mission and your business. Did you actually go to school? You said you're in North Carolina. Did you go to college here?
I did for a little bit. So I went to a community college called Central Piedmont, and then I went to UNC Charlotte for a little bit. And then I ended up dropping out to run just be a freelancer full time.
And I heard you spent some time doing some MySpace work.
Yes. I started getting paid for MySpace pages when I was at the community college, which was so interesting. Nice. It was fun back then. I loved it. I was coding. I was doing all sorts of fancy stuff, glittery stuff, all of that.
So I'm going to date myself and age myself in the 40s. But like back when because I went to community college, I migrated from Jamaica at 16, and you finish high school in Jamaica at 16. And so I came to the States and did community college for a couple of years. But back then, there ain't no internet. There was no MySpace yet.
Right. Oh my gosh. That is hilarious. That is too funny. I grew up on the internet. So I think that's why I'm just such a millennial. Like I love everything in the online space, people online, because that's what I grew up on. I used to be in like little chat rooms and stuff like that, even when I wasn't supposed to, even when I wasn't really old enough to, but it was just so intriguing to me.
Nice. So you're doing graphic design. Was design your kind of background?
Mm-hmm. So doing web and graphic design. Started with graphic design, transitioned to web design because I used to custom code the MySpace pages. So that's how I learned coding. Yeah. And then just learning some of the code from there. I told people I was a web designer. And then when people started paying me for web design, I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to figure out how to make some websites now.
That's interesting because not always do you find that designers have a code brain. I think people think of, I'm going to find a web guy, right? And they think the same person that does design has the skill set to develop and do the code. And that's not always the case, right?
Or vice versa. Like a lot of
vice versa,
have no design.
Yeah, that's usually the worst side.
They're the absolute worst at design.
That's so true. So did that just morph into where, as you said, people were asking you to do web design? Did that kind of morph into you then learning more about the marketing side and
Mhm.
eventually growing into your own business?
Yeah. So, like, the main issue, like, when people hired me for websites was that they didn't know what they wanted on their website. They just knew they wanted an online presence. They wanted to look cool online, essentially branding and
Mm-hmm.
positioning, which I
Yeah.
didn't know those terms back then, but they wanted to look good online. They wanted to, make money on the internet, but they just had no concept of really how to do it, how to market themselves, what words to put on their websites. And so I would help a lot of my clients figure those things out. And that's how I got into, like, the messaging space and marketing.
Wow. Wow. Who are some of your like mentors, or where were you getting guidance and kind of learning? Because you know quite a bit about branding. I'll touch on this in a second, or maybe I do now. So for those of you who have not yet caught on, Maya is a personal brand strategist, right? And you're helping people with all things related to branding and marketing and positioning and messaging. Where did you get kind of your knowledge? Is this something that, was self-taught? And continuing to poke around the internet, or did you kind of have mentors that helped you?
Yeah, starting out, a lot of it was just self-taught. Like, I Googled a lot. I went on YouTube a lot. Like, that's how I figured out, how to really become a good designer, how to actually make websites, how to, market yourself, like what to put on social media, all of that stuff. So I studied a lot of things just based on what I would find on the internet. And then I would find specific experts that I really liked following, and I would just subscribe to their newsletters, and I would study, like, when they did their launches or how they marketed to me, and, why they were sending out emails on certain days, or, how they ran their webinars, all of those things. So
Mm,
I used to follow, like, experts and bloggers and really just study, their moves, and then try to help my clients imitate that, but specifically in their field.
yeah. A student of the hustle.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I loved all that self-study stuff. Like, I was just really hungry to learn. I hated
Yeah.
learning in the college setting because I was like,
Yeah.
I don't really need to know 17 different sciences and maths,
Right.
but I love marketing, and I love being able, like, I think the cool thing is being able to take an idea and make it tangible with your knowledge. Like, that's what was really exciting to me. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. One of the things you touch on that's near and dear to me now is the messaging piece, right? And you help your clients develop clarity around their messaging. I'd love for you to explain why messaging is so important to getting results as an entrepreneur and a business owner, and more so than, because like you, I am brand first, right? So my mind tunes to the design and the look and feel, but all too often, I'm sure you learned as I did, you can have the prettiest website in the world, but pretty websites don't sell things, right? Words sell things. So talk
right.
to us about why the messaging is so important.
Yeah, the messaging is so important because it just makes it clear how you add value to your industry. And a lot of people just aren't clear about that. Like, they put out, the pretty pictures and the perfect colors. Like, they think they know what branding is. They think branding is just looking good in the online
It's a
space, but
logo,
people, like,
Maya.
yeah. But it's really like, why should people be following you? What am I doing on your website? I used to make the analogy that your website is party. Like, people go there because of the invitation. Maybe the invitation is speaking, but when they go there, what is there for them? Like, what is the substance? So
Mhm.
thing is really the substance of your overall brand, and letting people know how you serve them, how you add value to the industry, and how they can pay you.
Mhm. Matthew, from a mindset standpoint, right? Because we talk about kind of the journey you're on, but what helped you actually gain the confidence as a young Black woman, right? Coming up, starting your business. Where'd you gain that confidence in your mindset to know that, one, you could run a business full time, and
Mhm.
then two, you're one of the few women that I see, owning the ability to charge premium prices for your offerings.
Mhm. I think a couple things. I think, first of all, when I was starting out, there wasn't really social media wasn't that heavy. Like, Twitter was still new when I started freelancing professionally. Instagram was extremely new, so it wasn't as saturated. And I think now a lot of people lack confidence because of comparison. There's so much noise in our spaces. Everybody's like, "Oh, my industry is saturated," because they're seeing people post consistently, and they just feel like they're going to get lost in the sauce. So when I started out, there wasn't really any comparison. And I also didn't have to do it for money. Like I was making money, but I wasn't dependent on my business to pay my bills. I could actually just enjoy it. And I feel like a lot of people start off with so much pressure to stand out amongst competitors, and there's so much pressure to make bills with what they're doing. I could simply just enjoy what I was doing. So there was no reason for me to not be confident in what I was doing because I didn't have like these pressure-based standards against me. I just had fun. So I think that's one thing. And then as far as like charging premium and just being confident in where I am now, I definitely think that came from coaching and mentorship. And again, just studying people who were doing things bigger than me and then saying like, I can do this, or having them tell me, Maya, you can do this. You can go higher. You can be better.
And seeing sometimes other people that ain't offering nothing near what you have to offer, right? You're like, wait a second. Wait a minute. So, clearly you're a successful businesswoman today. I love to help those listening who are aspiring to realize that you never just go from A to B, right? You had some potholes, some detours, some challenges and failures in this journey, in this decade-long journey that you're on, right? What's been the biggest mistake you've made along your path, and kind of what was the lesson in that?
That's a good question. I think the biggest mistake is probably just not playing big enough and just not going for it, like waiting longer than necessary to just do what you should be doing. Because any mistake or losses, like it's really just lessons learned, but you can't even learn the lessons if you don't do the work. So I would say like any of my biggest mistakes was just like not charging enough, not being specific enough about who I wanted to work with. And I think that's something like starting out where it's like you're so thirsty to just work with anybody who's willing to pay you. And then you realize when you work with people who aren't a good fit, it reflects poorly on you because you can't work at your best for them. And then it's just a headache. It makes entrepreneurship not fun. So I think any biggest mistake is just not being real about what I wanted and going after that, like settling for projects or settling for my comfort zone or settling for clients that I really didn't want to work with.
Well, I'm just going to tell everybody listening right now, hit that 15-second rewind a couple times and listen to what Maya just said a while ago, because there's gems in just making sure you don't take the wrong clients on board. You're doing yourself a disservice. You're doing your other customers a disservice. You're doing your team a disservice. You're doing your family a disservice because you're going to be moody with them. I mean, I can't tell you how much you need to just give back somebody their money sometimes and move on, right?
Yeah, and I've done that a couple times. I'm like, this is not worth the money. We are not a good fit.
Right.
Here you go. Send them on their way.
Yeah. Curious to know, I'm sure you are continuing to invest in yourself even now, as successful as you are. How do you invest in your own growth and personal development?
Personal development wise, usually just a lot of reading and writing and reflecting. So I spend a lot of my day simply just thinking, like, how can I get better? Why did I decide to make this decision? Really understanding myself. I feel like self-awareness is so important. So reading mindset books. I recently just hired a therapist. I recently just joined a program to help me write and launch my book. So just figuring out different ways to get better. And I don't do a lot of things. Like I try not to do too much at once. Like I'm never in more than one program at one time. And I don't join programs if I don't feel like I need them in that season. Sometimes I feel like we join programs to like justify that we're doing the work and investing in ourselves. But it's like you have to know yourself well enough to know, like, is this the right time for me to join a program to write a book? Is this the right time for me to join a program to launch my signature offer? All of those things. So really, again, just knowing yourself, self-awareness, but it's always a good time to read for at least 30 minutes a day and journal for a few minutes a day and just get your brain going.
Yeah. I find myself in a season right now, Maya, where I'm doing some of that, where I am only consuming what is going to actually help me where I need to go. So and it's hard, right? Because you want to consume all the different podcasts and all the different, programs and courses and workshops. And it's like, I have to dial back and let go of the shiny light, right? And say, is this going to help me to launch, what I'm trying to put out into the world? there's knowledge in that. We have some listeners who are newbie entrepreneurs, or maybe listening right now, they're still on a 9 to 5 and really wanting to create that full-time income, right? And as you said, package your expertise. What would you say is a necessary like foundational pieces for a successful business, where they're able to begin to create that full-time income?
Yeah. So I definitely think first thing, most important thing is like the mindset and the confidence. Like you have to be confident that you can actually do this, because people can tell whether or not you're confident, and people aren't going to buy from you if you're not confident, because they're going to be like, if you're not confident with my money, then I'm not confident giving you my money. So what are you really confident in? What do you know that you do the absolute best? This is why I think it's so important to niche down instead of trying to do all of the things, because if you can figure out like that thing where you're like, I am the absolute best at, you're going to show up so confidently. Like, I feel like I'm one of the absolute best personal branding strategists in the world. I feel like I'm one of the best people to come to when you need help with messaging. I don't have to feel like I'm the best at funnels, or I'm the best at Twitter, or I'm the best at all of these things, because I know what I'm the best at and I own that. So show up confidently. That's the first thing. Because if you're confident and you feel like you're the best, then you're not going to play yourself on pricing, which is what a lot of people do. So before I can even say, oh, you need to have your pricing set up, I want to make sure that you're charging the right prices. So confidence, pricing, and then knowing how to package your skill set. That thing that you're the absolute best at, how can you deliver that to an ideal client? Is it going to be through a course? Is it going to be through speaking, consulting, one-on-one? So figure out what you're the absolute best at, package it up, put a price point on it. Don't overthink it. Just tell people that this is what you offer. There's going to be somebody out there that pays you.
Yeah. I love it. What's next for Maya? We're preparing to head into a new year, a new decade. I heard tease of a book. Well, what's on the horizon?
All right, my millionth attempt to writing my book, but this time I finally paid somebody to help me get it done.
Nice.
But yeah, so I'm doing the book because things are slowing down. So I'm like, let me focus on that a little bit. But I think really the next big thing is my live event Impact. That's going to be February 7th to 9th. And I'm really excited about that. I've run this event all throughout 2019, and I ran it the first time in 2018. But this time I'm going to do it on a larger scale. I used to do it more intimately with just 15 women, and it was invite only. But now it'll be 100 women. So I'm super, super excited about that. And we have about half the seats filled already. So about 40 to 45 more slots left. And I'm just super excited to serve these women. It'll be really fun.
Nice. You want to tell, while we're here, just go ahead and plug how people can find out more about that.
Yeah. So if you want to find out more about Impact Weekend, go to builttoimpact.com. And you can learn a little bit more about the 2.5-day event. We're going to really focus on your messaging, focus on your marketing, definitely going to touch on mindset, because again, that's the most important thing. And just make sure that you have the most successful year of your business yet.
Yes, love it. So before I let you go, last 2 questions for you. Or Blazer Nation, as we affectionately call our community. They love to hear. And whenever I forget to ask this, Maya, I get chewed out. So tell us about 1 or 2 books that you're reading or that maybe you've read before that you think we should be reading or adding to our reading queue.
Okay. So I feel like I always recommend the same books because I just reread really great books. Let's see. The Power of Focus by Jack Canfield. So when you look it up, there will be 3 authors, but Jack Canfield is one of them. That's great. It helps you focus on what's most important. And let's see here. What's the other one? I always talk about Atomic Habits by James Clear. It just talks about how small changes can make a huge difference in your life. I love that. And I'm going to give you a third one that I always just like, I just open it and I just read like a paragraph, and it just mindset on how I view abundance is The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. That's a good one too.
Love it. Love it. I'll add those to the queue. Tell us how we stay connected to you. You shared the Impact link, but tell us how we can connect with you on social and your website and so on.
Yeah. So my website is mayaelious.com. And the best way to connect with me is through Instagram at Maya Elious. That's MAYAELIOUS. And it is not Maya Elicious. It's Maya Elious. Okay?
I love when you say that.
Everybody thinks it's Maya Elious. And I'm like, I'm a grown woman. I do not go by Maya Elious. I don't have this random alter stripper name ego. So
Maya, last question for you. What's one action that our Blazer Nation should take this week that's going to help them to blaze their trail?
The one action you can take this week is to create an environment where you can be more productive. So whether that's your office or your bedroom, whatever it is, whatever you need to be more productive in, set up your environment so that way it's easy for you to be more productive.
Absolutely. Maya Elious, thank you so much. It's been a great conversation.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate you.
I'm Steve Nehart, and you've been listening to the trailblazers.fm podcast. If you're not yet doing so, consider following trailblazers.fm on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and feel free to connect with me over on LinkedIn. Whenever you're posting stories or social media posts about trailblazers.fm, be sure to use the hashtag TBPod and hashtag Mission Fuel. We'll be able to see you, and I'll be able to show some love. And in case you're not aware, our show notes for all our episodes can be found on our website over at tbpod.com. Now, if today was your first time listening, I just want to say big ups, enough respect for checking us out. You've made this Jamaican guy really happy that you're here with us today. And I'd love your help with keeping this Black excellence flowing each and every week. So if you haven't yet subscribed, hop on over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Search trailblazers.fm and subscribe, rate, and review us there. Be sure to browse through some of our past episodes. There are more than 150 published episodes now, and a little something is out there for everyone to help keep the knowledge flowing. We grow when you, as part of our Blazer Nation community, shares and invites your friends and family to listen to an episode you think might impact them most. We believe that someone listening to these inspiring stories are going to be moved to make significant changes that have generational impact for many others, both now and well into the future. Don't miss next week's episode. New episodes are released each and every Monday morning at 5 a.m. Eastern. Blazer Nation, go out today and find a way to rise above, go way beyond, and keep blazing your trail.